Hi, so in the last video, we talked a little bit about getting into unit tests. So we've covered libraries, we've covered NuGet packages. Now let's make sure our code is actually well tested.
Yeah, you were complaining a little bit before because I had written what I kind of thought were tests.
Right.
And, you know, you were probably reasonably not super impressed because I was really just messing around. They weren't really tests, were they?
So back in the C# tutorial series, we were talking a lot about some exceptions and how we hit those and when we could avoid them. So we added these try-catch blocks. Ideally, these should actually be included in test projects. So let's go ahead and add our first unit test project to the solution.
Okay, so before in the previous video, we added a library. So I have an executable that depends on a library. A unit test is another project type?
Yeah, so this will be our third project in our solution.
So I'm going to go add new project.
Yeah.
And then if I type in test, there's actually a bunch of different kinds of tests. I see MS test, NUnit test, XUnit test. Which one should I pick?
Yeah. So for our purposes, we're going to choose the XUnit test project that uses dotNET Core. There are NUnit and MS test testing frameworks as well. We can get into more about explaining those tests in other videos that you can see on YouTube.
Okay, so I'll go and say next, and we'll just call it the default, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Banking tests. Create. Okay, so another project has appeared there. And there you go. So by default, I just have, looks like, a banking test namespace and a fact. I have a fact.
Right, so XUnit uses fact attributes at the top of you might recognize public void test1. That looks a lot like a method. In order to transform it into a test, we put the fact attribute on it.
And that attribute is kind of like a post-it note that you put on methods. And you'll see other attributes as you go and write code in .NET.
Yeah, so you'll actually see immediately something new popped up at the top of this method. So that little tiny icon is the code lens test icon.
That little thing right there.
Guy. So from that icon, you can see if the test method has run, which it hasn't yet, or if it's passing or failed.
Is there anything we could test? Can we just test that like true is true? Is that a thing we can test?
Let's go ahead and write an assert.
Assert?
Assert dot true.
Okay. Assert that something's true, and then it says condition, and we know about conditions.
Yeah.
If statement condition. So we'll just say assert that it's true, it's true.
So the test should be passing.
Okay. How do I run that test?
So there's a few different ways. You could use Control-RT, which will run the test.
Okay.
Or you could use the code lens icon.
I can actually click on that little icon.
And then it pops up and you can run it.
Okay. Or I could right-click on the method and run it that way. So it said it succeeded, and now suddenly it's green.
Right.
And then something flashed on the left-hand side here.
Yeah, that was our Test Explorer. You can also use the Test Explorer to run tests to your heart's content. So the Test Explorer is one place you can look to see your entire test list. So right now we just have one, and it's passing. So let's add a few more.
All right. Let me do this. How about we go back over here, and I'll just pull these out of here.
Yeah, we can start filling it out first.
And I'll Control-X. So this, we've tidied up our program. .cs a little bit, and I'll just hold that in the clipboard.
I'm feeling better already.
Yeah, it's bad. Okay, so I just make another fact.
Yeah.
And I can make
Public
another
void.
test.
And call it test2.
Yeah. And then for now, I'm just going to go and paste again. And what I'll do is I'll comment these out again.
Sounds
I'm just holding them there. And again, I can go and say, where was commenting? I think comment selection, and you said it was Control-K, Control-C.
Yeah.
And that just makes it so they're there, but they don't do anything.
Right.
Okay.
So if you go over to the Test Explorer and expand the banking tests node now, you can see that the Test Explorer actually adds a little bit of structure. So right now it's grouped by project namespace and then class, but you can see both tests appearing now.
That's cool. And it says unit test 1. I guess I could click there and say rename and call it like basic tests, and then presumably the unit test. Yep, see, now I have basic tests. So I might have lots of different tests.
Yeah, and since you changed how we kind of define the test, the old results are gone. So it's basically as if you added 2 completely new tests.
I see, and I'm going to be running tests and running and changing and running and changing. So those things on the left side will change a lot.
Yeah, so it'll actively update as you're running tests.
Okay, so when I was messing around earlier, I was trying to test negative balances. And I know that if I try to take out more money than is allowed, then it would throw an exception that that operation is not invalid. I don't really know how to test that though.
Yeah, so let's take the first try catch you block you have commented out and put it up in our first test.
Okay, and I know that we need to go and make our fake account first too. So I'm going to grab a little bit of code from that as well.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say make an account. And I'm also wondering, will it even know about bank accounts?
It doesn't. We're definitely going to get some errors. So just like how we added a reference to the class library in our console app, we'll need to add a reference to the class library in our testing project.
Before I right-clicked and I said add reference, why don't we try something different this time, and I'll click on this and we'll let the quick fix do it.
Yeah.
See?
So that's added, and I really like that one. So it added the reference to the project node in the Solution Explorer, and it also added the using statement that we needed to the top of this file.
That's cool. 2, 3 things that I would have had to do myself. Now I don't have to worry about them.
Yeah.
All right, so you had said to comment that out, and let's go and test for a negative balance. So I'm kind of setting up, and before I was just, I guess, trying something and then catching it, and then basically console.writeLining. It's not really testing it though, it just kind of does it.
Yeah. So in tests, you don't really need a console.writeLine because whether or not the test is passing or failing is really the main feedback mechanism you want. You don't want to have to go check the console to see if the test passed and whatnot.
Okay.
So instead of making a console write line to actually check it, let's actually make an assert.
Okay. So we make an account. I'm going to make a little room here.
Excellent.
And then we will say assert. Okay. Assert what? We were asserting true and false and things like that. What can I assert in the context of an exception?
So we want to make sure it throws an exception. So we'll use assert throws.
Okay.
Assert dot throws. Sorry.
Okay. And I know that it throws a invalid operation exception. So I know that that's a thing. All right. And then this is a syntax I don't think that we've ever seen before, because we're going to basically do that work inside of this method here, this throws, right?
Right. We're going to go ahead and have it return.
We're going to go ahead and do kind of it's called an anonymous function. So we're basically doing this syntax, which we've never seen before.
Right.
This is kind of a weird one. And we'll break it down, right? So let's go ahead and just copy paste that. I'm just using the cursors to select that, and hopefully I'll get this right. And you see how I'm not freaking out, because even though I'm being told there's errors, I know I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
Right? That's a good reminder. Oop, and see, those errors went away. So let's kind of break this down. We're saying assert.throws, and I can hover over throws, and you see how they've got the little angle brackets there. That's the type. Remember how we said cup of tea? This is a throws a type of invalid operation. And then the test code goes in what's called an action. And the way you say an action is you made this little kind of funny rocket ship. It's like, I don't know, if you turn your head, it looks like a rocket ship.
Yeah, I see it.
So there's your parentheses and then your rocket ship, and it points to the code that's going to do the work. Now, if you're fancy, like some people, I've seen folks do this all on one line.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I find that hard to read.
Yeah.
So I think I'll put that on 2 lines, even though it's technically, I guess, 1 line of code.
Yeah, sounds good. So with this statement, we're basically telling the test that, hey, we expect when we execute this line, account.makeWithdrawal with these inputs, that we expect it to throw an invalid operation exception. So in this test, we're asserting that it's going to throw this, and if we don't, it would fail.
Okay, so we assert that we're expecting this. This is not a bad thing that this exception's happening.
No, we want it to happen because we want people to know that they're overdrawing their account.
So we give you $10,000, we take out $75,000. I'll then right-click and I'll say Run Tests. Okay, so now it's going to run those tests. Build succeeded. You can see it's actually spinning over here. Something's happening.
Great, so that was our test 2 method. So yeah.
And I didn't click on test 1, so test 1 didn't get involved, and that's okay as well. And I've seen it succeed though, but I never really saw it not succeed.
Right. Why don't we make it fail? So that would be by, we could change the withdrawal
Maybe take
amount
out less
to be,
money?
Yeah, less than so that it won't actually overdraw the account.
Okay. right-click, run tests. That right-click, run test is very convenient.
Yeah.
All right, so it's run. Oh, look at that.
So now it failed because it did not throw the exception that we expected those inputs to throw.
Expected operation, actual, nothing bad happened.
Nothing bad happened
All right,
when it was supposed to.
It was supposed to. Okay, cool. So let me see if I can do this by myself then.
Okay.
I'm going to take
No help.
this code here, which is the code from before. I make another fact, and this is the great thing about unit testing. You want to make lots of these, right? Like you can't have too many. You can have, I probably should name them better too. You can have as many unit tests as you want, right?
Yeah, descriptive names are always pretty helpful.
Yeah, I'll fix that later. So I'm going to uncomment that. So let me think here. Argument out of range. So I don't need the try. I don't need the console.writeLine. You said I do need my argument out of range. And we're going to go and create something, and that's going to be our action. So let's kind of look at the code above. Assert dot throws argument out of range. Then I'm going to open my parentheses, and I'll close it down here. And then I'll do my rocket ship for my action, and then I'll just take this and stick it in here. All right. Now this guy's mad because this doesn't exist. This concept of a var doesn't exist in this context. So we've got a little bit of an interesting thing where we want to actually make something. We're going to do a constructor, and there's no good way to do that. I don't really need to save it, though. It doesn't really matter if I save it. So I don't need that var. So that should work. Let's find out. And actually, instead of run tests, can I run them all?
Yeah, you can definitely run all tests.
Okay, and how do I do that?
So you can click the
double
in the
arrow?
Solution Explorer, yeah, the double arrow.
Okay.
Or sorry, in the Test Explorer.
The Test Explorer. Run all tests.
Yeah.
We have that other one at the top that still tests true is true. Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
Now, let's see if this, I want to watch it fail too, so I'm going to make a valid one as well, and then I'll run all tests, because it doesn't really, it's not really a test unless you see it go wrong, as far as I'm concerned. Oh, there we go.
I
Cool.
think that's a very good observation.
Is that good?
I do know there's so many different testing strategies and advice out there. I have heard people say if they don't see a test fail, they don't trust it. So they actually want to make sure they can make the test fail. Because if it just always passes as you're developing, you might have never input something that would actually cause it to fail.
Okay. So while you were talking, I just went and renamed those, and I just made them what I thought would be nice names. True is true, can't take more than you have, and need money to start.
That sounds good.
So that's pretty cool. And that gives me a sense of confidence about my things. So we could really just test all the time. I could write, gosh, am I going to end up writing more tests than I actually have code?
It's possible. So it all depends how much testing someone wants to do and what code coverage. That's how much of your code is covered by certain test methods. All of that decision is up to you as the designer of your program.
Now, we are just scratching the surface of the things that Visual Studio can do with testing, but I hope that you start writing lots and lots of tests, and maybe you'll start doing test-driven development. Unlike us, you'll write your tests first, and that will then inform your design. But now that we've got our application mostly working, in the next video, let's publish it and maybe run it on maybe both Windows and on Linux.